The next section is how to find the test and how to sign up for it, okay? So I sent you a link in that email. There was a link to the AKC website. It's tough. Like, don't wait till the last minute. If you're looking for, first of all, you can generally get a premium from the club. But if you want to see the schedule, the clubs are asked to have the schedule sent into the AKC 90 days ahead of time. It doesn't always work. Some of the clubs will wait until, unfortunately, will wait until the last minute to get their entry in. But you can go in, use that link, because it is difficult to find it. And they change it every couple of years, so you get used to it. And if you have trouble, just email me, and I'll send you that link again. But you can go on their website, use that link that I sent you. You can choose it by state. So usually, like, I'll look at Illinois and Wisconsin. Indiana still has some tests, but usually Illinois and Wisconsin. And then if you want to look up by club, I would go by the category. So these are hunting tests, pointing dog hunting tests. There's also retriever hunting tests. There's also spaniel hunting tests. There's also field trials. So you want to be looking for pointing dog hunting test. And then you get a drop down with the calendar. That's pretty self-explanatory. Most of the tests are in April, sometimes March, April. Then we stop here in April. We have to be finished here by the end of April. And then the tests start up again in September, and we'll go into October. So you have these two windows for a pointing dog hunting test. Okay? Any questions about that? All right. Do not be this guy. All right? When you fill out your premium, please print neatly. Okay? This is the one you want to see. Because the thing is, we have a lot of important information on that premium. We have your AKC, your dog's registration number. And if you pass, we need all this information. We need to fill out the breeder, we need to fill out the sire, the dam, we need to fill out your address. If you're not the handler, so that's another thing. Sometimes you may be the owner and you have someone else handling your dog. Make sure we know that. Otherwise, we're going to assume that the owner is also the handler. You want to spell your name correctly, your dog's name correctly on the running order. So I also included in that email a Word document for this AKC form. Take a couple minutes and fill it out for your dog, because 90%, 80% of this information is going to be the same for every test. The only thing that's going to change is the event number. So there's generally 2 tests each weekend. Those are separate tests. They each have a separate registration number for the AKC. So when you fill it out, sometimes I'll get it, like someone will put both dates on there. Fill out both sides of the premium. It is 2 separate tests. I also recommend that people write a separate check, because sometimes you may have to pull what, let's say, your dog something comes up before the draw is made, and you need to pull one day. So all the secretary has to do is give you that one check back. Okay, so it's not real important, but if something changes, sometimes it's nice to have 2 separate checks. So 2 separate entries. You can't read some of it, but we don't need the litter number. We don't need, some of the stuff. All we really need, make sure you tell us what level you're entering, okay? Because I'll get those sometimes without, I'll have to call someone or something like that, chase you down for that. Make sure we'll know the event number. Make sure it's the correct day. Sometimes people only enter one day, so make sure that you know. If you have the date, but then the wrong registration number, now I don't know what day you're entering, and I've got to be calling you or something like that. So make sure the date and the event number. Make sure we know what level, make sure that we have the dogs. This is the call name, so the call name is what you're actually, yelling at your dog, trying to get back. And then you have the official AKC name. Print this stuff out, okay? Because it just makes it more difficult for us. And if we fill it in wrong, you may not get credit for it. So help us, help you. Make sure that if the owner is not the handler, make sure you know that. And that is about it. Cell phone number. That. Cell phone number, it just helps us. So let's see. All right. So a couple other things. When you're looking at that, when you're sending your entry form in, you can send it in early. Okay. Don't wait until the last minute because you may not get in the test. You can always send it in ahead of time, and until the draw is made. Generally, and it'll say that on the premium. It'll tell you when the draw is going to be performed. Generally, that's the Wednesday night before the test. You can call up until that time and pull your dog and get your money back. Yes. So you can get your money back. You can't. So if you're not sure, try not to wait until that weekend and then send it in, because we don't know that that's coming in. We don't like to accept faxes, emails. The rules are very clear. So put yourself in the secretary's position for a minute, and you have all these people that are waiting until the last minute, and now they want to email the entries in and everything. It's too bad. Okay, you guys know about it. You can always pull, and we'll tear the check up, or we'll send the check back. The draw. What the draw is we take all those names and the categories, and then we're pulling the dogs to match them up. Okay? So, it's a blind draw. We are not matching dogs up. All right? So people will send in a request, don't put me with a white dog. Or don't put me with a Vizsla. Or don't put, you know what? You need to be prepared for whatever there is. Okay? This is your, this is an official competition. If there's some, we will try and accommodate you. If you know that your dog has trouble with other males, maybe you shouldn't be entering that dog. If you're coming in from Iowa, yes ma'am.
I have a dog that might be coming into heat during that time.
Yeah.
Can I tell you that on this entry form?
Yes.
Okay.
I'll get, but I'll do that now. I'll answer that now. On the
That's a really nice English pointer that's
on the premium, they will state if bitches and heat are allowed. Generally, most clubs will not allow bitches and heat to run because it can just throw all the other dogs off. But look at it. It's up to the, our club does. Fortunately, we have enough people to help out. We'll just run that dog at the end of the day. But that is in here. So if the dog is if you think they may be coming into heat, let the secretary know. And so let's say they're coming in, you think they're coming into heat, and we allow it. Okay? Let the secretary know ahead of time, and maybe we'll put you in a later brace to begin with. So we'll prepare for that. And you're allowed to pull your dog and get your money back if it comes into heat after the draw is made. So the draw, again, is where we'll take all the names and we'll start matching the dogs up. Okay? So, you can put a note on there, request it, but the reality is, if you're entering a competition, you should be ready. You should not have to say, don't put my dog with a Brittany because he doesn't know how to back a dog without a tail. So, right? I'm telling you. So, did that answer?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So yeah, again, like Mary was saying, not so much Dennis, but Mary was saying, we try and accommodate everybody. This is, the sport is... All right, so we talk about the flash collar.
Anything changed?
Can you talk about the writing in their name? Whatever is on your AKC registration forms, if you're Charles and you write Charlie on here,
Oh, yeah.
you are not getting your ribbon. Well, you get your ribbon, but you won't be qualified
Won't,
for
yeah.
AKC. We were just talking about this last night.
That happened, yeah. That happened.
So if like Dottie and Brad is Woodray, more than likely that's Dorothy. And if it's on the registration, if you have a multiple name registration, you and someone else, both
It's gotta be
names
written
have to be
exactly.
on there the way it is on the AKC registration form. If not, we'll give you the ribbon and you'll think you have a junior hunter and then you don't have your title coming in the mail.
I got
It's like 9
two right
months.
now I'm dealing with that,
So you
trying to
can,
figure out what happened.
so you can go on the AKC website, check. We're supposed to get this paperwork in within like 3 or 4 days. So it should be on there. You know, I don't know, and it may take them a while to put it on there, but we're required to keep it for 2 years. So don't, you know,
And
Don't
your
expect
ribbons with the number, they're,
The ribbon means
save
nothing.
those, because those are proof that you passed.
right, but don't, you know, I mean, and I was lucky that we had someone who came back like 2 years later, and he's like, hey, you know, I thought, you know, my dog passed in your test, and I forget what it was some goofy thing, like the dog passed seniors on Saturday, then moved up to masters, but check it, go on the AKC website and check it, because we're only required to keep our records for 2 years. All right, so don't, you know, be careful, don't not to come back, you know, 3
So
years
if you
later.
haven't gotten your
you know,
certificate
what
in
happened.
reasonable time, call. So, like this one that I'm dealing with now is like spring of 2018. Really? I'm like, you're just now figuring out you didn't get your certificate? All right.
So, Bitches and Heat, they'll have that on the premium. The tracking collar, if the club, it's up to the club, whether or not they'll allow tracking collars. So look on that premium and see if that club allows it. Don't, you know, you don't want to come here and then find out that they don't allow it. The flash collars, there's a running order. So we do the draw, and generally that running order in each club is different. Most of the clubs will have their running order posted on their website by Thursday. You know, I've seen some that didn't have it till Friday night. So you're running on Saturday and you have no idea if you're the first brace, the last brace. If you're the top dog or the bottom dog, the way I remember the collars is just alphabetical. The first one is orange or red, which comes before the second, the bottom one, which is yellow. So that'll, you know, hopefully that'll make it a little bit easier. The running order can change. The clubs can change the running order for, you know, whatever, a multitude of reasons. So you may be in the later brace. I would always get there early. You know, you almost can't get there too early. There's always something to do. Go watch the master braces or the senior braces. You know, talk to some people, make some friends. Try not to cut it, especially we're going to have that construction here all fall. In fact,
And
I think
next
into
year.
the spring.
That's a 2-year product.
Too bad. You have 5 minutes. When your brace is ready, you have 5 minutes. And depending on how the day is going, the judges, especially these two, no, the judges can enforce that. You know, and so there's really no excuse. There's no excuse not to be there in time, and know ahead of time that the running order can change. All right? Habitat stamp. That was yours. In Illinois, right? You have to have a hunting license and the habitat stamp to run your dog.
If you're a resident.
If you're a resident, right. I've never seen that checked, but there could be one day that it is. So for those of you that have to take the hunter safety class, they're, what, 1980 and younger, you may have to take the hunter safety class in order to get a hunting license. You may, but when you do get that hunting license, make sure that you have a habitat stamp. Enter early and pull if you have to. I'm more than happy to pull your entry, much more so than when I'm getting it Tuesday. Don't, you know, again, overnighting stuff. If you're late with that entry, I would When I enter, I always call or email a few days afterwards to make sure they got it. Okay, because the entries do get lost in the mail, so you don't want to drive up. Dennis keeps mentioning Eagle. Eagle is about 200 miles from here. It's 100 of my house, so about 150 miles.
Whatever.
All right, it's up in Kettle Moraine. Okay, you don't want to drive all the way up there or make plans to be there and then find out that your premium, that your entry never got in. So just send the secretary an email ahead of time or call them ahead of time just to make sure, and it's happened. So just to make sure that they got your entry. About, no, I'll let you, so we don't do it, I'll let you talk about that. When you finish, don't complain to the secretary about anything. Tell them what a wonderful time you had, and that they did a great job. Because really, there's nothing they can do. If you have a question about how your dog was scored or something, wait until the appropriate time and calmly talk to the judges. And again, I am not aware of any time the judges change their score or something like that. But they're nice. They're nice people. I mean, they're not getting paid a whole heck of a lot of money for what they're doing. They love the sport and they're supporting the sport. So just wait till the appropriate time. If you have a question about something, the secretary or the chairman can help you. But if you have a complaint about how the dog was scored or something like that, there's really nothing that that we can do. In the fall, it is hot out here. So it's no excuse if your dog is it's too hot. So make sure your dog is in shape. Don't keep them in the air conditioning all summer and then bring them out here when it's 80 degrees. You should be out there running them now. Make sure that they're in shape. The clubs will have, some clubs will have 2 water buckets, some clubs will have 1. You want to know where they are. You want to have water. I should add that to that. You want to make sure that you have a water bottle with you for your dog. Make sure your dog knows how to drink out of that water bottle. Some of them don't do that naturally, so you don't want to wait until your dog is about to collapse from the heat and you're trying to squirt water in its mouth. Start that now. Teach your dog how to drink from a water bottle.
And how to get in and out, even a kiddie pool. Teach them how to get into the water.
Yeah, it'll be like a horse.
Some of them are 2 feet deep out here, and you have to lift them up and set them in. Some are a foot tall where they can go in just like a little kiddie pool. I actually had kiddie pools out here too, so get used to it in the water.
So if I can back up one more. When they were talking about the wind, so let's say for example that the wind is coming from the west. It's coming this way. When you come into the field, don't start waste all your time on this end, because your dog can only smell the bird between where your dog is and where the wind is coming from. So what I would do is I would come all the way down to the bottom of the course and then work your way back into the wind. You only have a limited number of time in that bird field. So that was everything that I had. PayPal.
There is clubs that actually got into this century, unlike Barry's.
The traditional.
PayPal, it's a good and bad situation. We're able to put in a time where it stops accepting PayPal, so the drawing is 6 o'clock on Wednesday. No more entries are going to come in. But more than likely, they'll have entries stop the day before on PayPal, because we need to have that entry form still through the mail. So PayPal, and then if going back to the pitches and heat, or if you pull before the drawing, the club's going to charge you the $2 to get that money back. It's a fee that we have to pay. So if it's a $50 hunt test, it'll be a $52 charge, and they'll probably get your money back. They'll send you a check of $48, and then we have to pay $2. It's probably to get that money back.
But again, you can employ, I mean, if you take nothing away from my portion of this, get your entries in.
Right.
Just don't wait. It just makes it difficult. None of us are getting paid for it. It makes it difficult. It may not get in time. You could always pull it if your dog isn't ready. We're more than, not more, but we're happy to do that. All right, cool. Thank you, guys.
All right, so now we go in to the next level where everybody drops off.
Is anybody here running in seniors or masters now? How many people here would like to go, like once you get your junior title, intend on going to that?
Oh.
Right. So the big leap, still doing these 4 things. We're watching for your dog to hunt. We're watching them for that bird finding ability. No more 3-second points. You got a whole point until you get there. So, and no more 50%. It's got a point in all birds. We have same about trainability. Same thing. If you don't listen, you're going to lose. So then we add these 2 things here. Looks simple, retrieving. I got a dog that's been through senior 9 times now. And he'll retrieve every bird I throw in the big carpet I get here. And I don't know what goes through them ears, but it's certainly not retrieving. He's a beautiful dog.
Yeah.
And honoring. So what do we want from an honor? It's a natural ability for a dog to honor. We screw that up as animals. So if the dog is on point, it's a natural ability for that other dog, no matter what breed it is. If it sees that dog, drives that through that brain to stop and honor. Or back. Whatever they call it. So, senior level, we'll stay with this, because this is a hell of a graduation here.
Yeah.
And this is on the top floor. Which, this they've kind of left the same over the years. Since '86 when they started doing contests. And then Master used to be robots. You were allowed to say, hunt, fetch, and come. There was no, here, fluffy, here, fluffy, here, fluffy, here, fluffy, fluffy, fluffy.
You said nothing to your dog.
Yeah.
Nothing.
So they have made this easier by one sorry sentence.
Mm-hmm.
Soft verbal wool.
Quiet and infrequent is the word.
Totally different interpretation from people there. I've heard silent flows. I've heard ear cracking screams. And what's funny is they actually think it's good to do that. I don't know if they're, I won't bring names into
No,
this.
no.
We'll leave it at what it is. So you add those 2 things to your score. So they went from a junior hunter that had 4. So you had straight 8s here. And if it's the same dog, now you've done more training, you went around and around and around. And now you got 999 on the same 8, on the same scores you started with. And then you add the retreat. So senior, still going to need retrieving. We want it to hand, but if it comes by and drops the bird in front of you within 1 step, not one giant leap for mankind, 1 step, it can be accepted as a retreat. Now, in senior, can it stop halfway? Take B, drop the bird. It could still pass. Now, can it chomp the bird? No.
So can you do a double command on the retrieve?
Yes.
So if it drops the bird, you just say, get
If the
that.
dog goes out and searches for the bird and doesn't find the bird, it comes back to you. Seniors that transitioning thing, because technically in the rule book, dog needs to be brought to the shot, not the command. So, here we are as judges. Dog stayed till the gun was shot. Gunners fired. So now we've got two gunners that are out there carrying a gun that must be a break open, whether it be side by side, like this one here, barrels this way, or over under, where the barrels are up and down. So us in senior, you're not carrying a gun, you're still carrying a light gun. Okay? Where you get into master, you're going to carry a gun or something that looks like a gun. Now,
And your blank gun.
and your blank gun. So the gunners are going to have a break open shotgun out there to shoot. So granted, you're going to have to be trained to get that retrieved. You're going to have the dog shot over gunfire. So dog comes in, goes on point, shoot the bird, they miss. Dog takes off on the shot. This is where the judging gets really different. Some say pick your dog. Well, technically why? Explain to me why. AKC is going to follow the judging rule. Me, as a judge, I don't see it that way. I'm going by what's in the rule. That's what you're being judged on. That's all we can do. The ad-lib part, it shouldn't be allowed. Now, there is certain situations that can arise where they can send a $50 quail. Things happen. But you need to have that dog retrieved back to hand, preferably, or within 1 second.
It's for senior.
Yeah, for senior.
For senior, talking senior here. Master is absolutely positively to hand, and you cannot do this. It has to come to you, to hand.
Now, can you get fancy and have the dog trained to heel and sit next to you? Bob West does all the time.
Capability.
So,
Capability.
That's fine.
you know.
So what's it, if you take these, let's just go one, what's the difference in, forget about master, what's the difference in hunting between a senior dog and a junior dog? What are you looking for, what are your
You're still
strategies
searching
different?
for objectives, just at a higher level. I mean, in senior and master, once you get out of junior, your dog shouldn't be by your side or just hovering in front of you. It should be searching for game. Now, within gun range, now I'm saying, it's not going to say if your dog's out 400 yards and searching for game, it's still allowed. The judges can't see the dog, they can't judge what they can't see. So they might say, hey, you got 5 minutes to get that dog under control.
And if your dog's gone for 5 minutes, you're done.
It's over.
So between, just staying between junior and senior, forget about
Okay.
master. Junior, you guys are okay if the dog's kind of out there, you know, yep. Senior dog, it should be, you know what, it should know why it's out there.
Right.
It should not be tagging.
No.
It should not be, it should know why it's out there.
Should be
All
out.
the discrepancies that you got away with in junior are now gone.
Right, but they don't know what those are.
Well, if they would go, well, they're not gonna start in senior, they're gonna start in junior, hopefully. Now, there's no law that says you can't start in master. It
You know
happens
what we
all
should
the
talk
time.
about that.
Yeah, you don't have to do seniors.
Yeah, you don't have to, but you will, if you start in senior or master, you add one more to the back end. So instead of 4, if you go through junior and you get your 4 qualifying scores, you get your junior hunter certificate, and you do the hard work training, it's now retrieving, now 4 times passed with senior, you get your senior title. Now, if you go straight into senior and jump junior altogether, totally allowed, but you gotta pass 5 on test. Same thing with master, you've got to pass 6. You got to pass 5 if you've gone through the transition.
So, bird finding, what is the difference between bird finding in juniors and bird finding in seniors?
A lot of it is knowing your dog. I mean, you're gonna see definitely more quality. If you don't see any more quality coming along, maybe
Well,
it's not the thing to do.
Yeah, And then the thing, I mean, they have to find a bird, obviously, but now the seniors, they gotta point it and hold. They
That's
cannot,
that's the point, but in
Right.
bird finding,
right, but now they go more hand in hand. I mean, you can't, a senior dog can't just find a bird and not point it. I mean, you might have it wild flush, where the flush is, then it's gotta stop. Yet, I mean, didn't necessarily find that bird, it popped on him, but he,
so, but how would you define, again, for these guys, how would you define, considering going, I passed my junior title, now I'm considering running in seniors.
Mhm.
What do I need to know that my dog does differently for bird finding?
Well, you could have a situation in senior where a dog maybe points, okay, and you go there, there's no bird, there's feathers, you go on your way. Still, we didn't find a bird, right? He's gotta find a bird. So, I mean, he can't say with juniors, you gotta find a bird, but
And it's not 50-50 anymore.
that's not, right, it's
Every
every bird he contacts, he has got to point it first.
Now, Dennis mentioned earlier in juniors, what he wants to see is a dog that goes aggressively into the field and finds birds with a flash on the point. And that's more what you're looking for in a senior dog. A dog that's gonna.
Well, you
a
know,
little bit harder.
the breed comes into effect there too. I mean, if you're
You're right.
watching a Spinone compared to a smoking pointer, it's gonna differ. There's clumbering, there's all different
Right.
things you gotta see.
What, yeah,
At the senior levels, if we're to say then the pointing dog has to stay steady to at least shot,
it has to,
It has to.
it has
and the honoring dog, is he leashed at that?
The honoring, when your dog comes in for a bat, the judges are gonna ask you to collar your dog. Now, collar your dog is kneel down next to it and hold that flash collar and hold it, not clip a leash on it.
to, no.
So that's basically the difference between junior and senior then, right? Steady to at least
Shot,
beyond
steady to
shot,
shot.
and honoring dog, leash, or
And retreat.
Right.
So then how would you define the difference between pointing in seniors versus pointing in juniors?
It's still a point. I mean, they still got a point, they got, but in seniors, they got to hold it.
We
Until
have to
shot.
hold it until these shots.
In juniors, they can
And the
point.
finesse part of it is just gonna add from the 7 and higher. We're grading where there's a pass-fail, where this is a pass-fail also, but that pass could be 7, 8, 9, or 10. So we do wanna see finesse.
So if that dog comes in, that senior dog is, or master dog, whatever, comes in and like, they're saying you're working into the wind, and say the wind's coming this way, and this dog is coming along, and bam, he turns. And he's on point now. He just slammed that bird, he's pointing, that tail's up, that looks cool. Now, in my mind, that's 8 or 9, 9 or 10, and you're scoring. So all that, like I said, we're looking for some style and how they're working the field, and how do they point that bird. They point the bird, sure,
So
and then,
this score could be definitely attributed to overtraining.
Mhm.
So you don't want to see, it's going to get a lower score if it's wagging its tail, if it lays down, are you going to knock that dog out if it lays down on point, or are you just going to give it a lower score?
I'd rather be on.
I have
That's what
had,
I'm here for.
I have had a dog in senior at Eagle that came in, laid down, stuck its back leg up. And that's the way it's said he trained at the point. That's the most that we failed because you can't read. Dog needs to be unique.
The dog has to identify gauge to entry. No, this was in the, so not to belabor it, but when we had that judges seminar, there's nothing that defines
This is one of those qualms with
four
Right.
legs, 3 legs.
Right,
But
right.
make it easy for yourself. If you're a dog that lays down on point, it's probably because there was pressure to it. Don't even put these guys in that situation to decide and have that argument. So if that's one of your, one of the things that you're trying to decide on about whether to run seniors and stuff, and if you have a dog that lays down, I would either like go to a trainer, get it straightened out, or not.
Or back off something.
Right, because you're just gonna put yourself,
As you're walking in on that dog and point, the projector, here's the dog. You're walking in on that dog for the point. when we see, as judges, see these dogs that are pressured, you'll see them drop. You'll see them drop. And if your dog's doing that, not to get into training situations, if you go under, past their tuck on their back, just pump it with your hand. Now, you're not allowed to do this when you're in the hunt test, but when you're training, just pump them a little bit on the back, and they'll come right back up. Now, if they're down on the ground, that's a whole different situation.
So Mary, so with pointing, with a senior dog, and you might want to demonstrate this.
Okay.
Can it, at what point does it have to stop? So in other words, if it's still trying to figure out where that bird is, can it relocate, or once you start to flush, it cannot move again?
No.
How would you define, and can you roll it? If the dog starts moving, can you, in seniors, can you
You
roll
can
it?
blow it, but you can't do it with your hand, what you just did.
You can give it a precautionary roll, is what they call it, quiet and infrequent, which is, I wish they never put
That's
it
in masters.
in there.
In seniors, can you roll your dog?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
All right, so you guys understand that. If
But
the
you want the
starts
dog to
moving,
point, and you're using whoa
to hold it.
to hold it, not to whoa it into a, when we get to the next one, for sure. But on a point, you're not whoaing it into a point.
No, right. So the dog has got to be already pointing. The dog is pointing, and you want to come up and you want to flush the bird, you can say, whoa.
Now, can you do the hand?
You're not supposed to.
Well, I'm not supposed to.
Always or pull up the sound?
Just whoa. Nice quiet whoa, if that's what you want to do. I find, and it depends on your dog, but I'm seeing more and more, I find it's better to just not say anything to the dog. Because now the dog's pointing, you're coming up, the dog's pointing, you say, whoa. The dog looks at you. Don't say anything. The dog's doing it. He is whoa. You know, I mean, again, you're training, depending on how the dog's handling that situation, but sometimes it's better just not say anything. He's doing it. So then you call him off by,
I'm sorry, you've kind of confused me on something. So you've got a dog that's on point and you're walking up to him so you can flush that bird.
right.
And now I've got a dog who wants to creep a little because now it's like, oh my God, she's going in there. So if I give a whoa, are you telling me that's wrong?
No, you do whatever you
I'm
can.
in juniors, so I get it, I'm not at the
But
senior.
if you're at the next level,
At the senior, that's wrong.
it shouldn't be moving at all.
Right.
I get that, but at the junior
You
level,
can't, no, you're right, you can't do that.
at the
At
senior
junior,
level,
yes.
I cannot do that, I get that, okay.
It's a
But
command.
at junior level, I'm still okay saying,
Yes.
Yes.
hey, dude, that's not acceptable to me.
So
I
like,
mean,
you
at
know,
the training level, I'm actually picking him up and putting him back to where he was
Right.
supposed to be and saying,
Right.
no, that's a no can do, we're not doing that. You
Right.
creep, you're back where you were.
right, if he's creeping and creeping and you need to roll
Well,
him
as
to stop.
I'm walking up
Yeah.
to get in front of him to find where that bird
Right.
is, okay.
Right.
Okay. The difference in trainability between juniors and seniors.
Oh, Lord. That's a lot.
I'd say
In 10
refine
minutes.
it.
In 10 minutes,
Yeah.
what else is?
Yeah.
You need, it has to be more refined. You can't,
That's kind of more, in seniors, it would be more, definitely more obedient stuff. So, situation we just talked about, dogs pointing, screaming, you roll it, trainability, you're done. You didn't, same like with the honoring thing, you know, like the dog should notice the honor, and I'll tell them when we're running a senior dog, if I want you to see your dog, notice the other dog before you roll it. So the dog's going around, the dog's on point, the dog's looking at it, but kind of stammering, you can roll it. But like in masters, you roll it, you're done.
Okay. In-
So that's trainability.
Is there, so obviously retrieving, you also retrieve in juniors. You talked already a little bit about retrieving in seniors. So again, it's not a refined, if the dog hovers around a little bit, if it drops the bird, it can still get a passing score, but it's just, it can continue to get marked down.
Right.
So it'll fail in retrieving if it just doesn't retrieve the bird at all. What happens if you send the dog, you send it or it goes unshot, and then it's a tough retrieve? Do you just leave the dog out there, let him?
Well, at our seminar we had, they had situations Where, like, if the bird flies off and it's in the tree line, you know, and up in the tree, obviously the dog can't retrieve it. So you give him another retrieve. There's the situations, and it happens, dog goes for the tree, another bird pops. And he goes after that bird, brings it back, that's okay. He brought you back to retrieve, that's fine. So, I mean, there's always little situations.
So again, if you're going to that level, if you have to, you know, if you expect your dog to bring that bird back, you're good. If you're hoping that it brings it back, then maybe you're not ready yet. So again, you know, what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to help you guys decide, like, where you need to be before you go into the next level.
And then on the back course with the seniors and masters now, we got birds planted back there. If your dog comes across a bird back there, it has to do the same work. It's got a point, it's got a hold. Now there's that little gray area.
But you're just gonna blanket, because
Right.
usually there's no gun.
With the seat, right, you're gonna blanket with your blank gun. And the seniors, I hate this part of it with the seniors in the back course. So now the bird, and I've just you read this in the rules. So he points the bird, is holding, right? And you flush the bird, and you don't have to cap the gun now. They can say you can heal him off of that too. I just read that in the book. I was like, really? Yeah, you can heal him off of it. I don't know, I didn't like that either. But what I would do is I would cap the gun, because the thing is, the senior dog can go on the shot, okay? So if you're flushing the bird and you shoot the blank gun, you're safe if he went, right? Now the master dog, he can't go. So the master dog, you're gonna blank that gun, flush the bird, blank the gun, and then you gotta, when we say heal the dog off of that, that's not grabbing it or putting the leash. You gotta have that command, no bird come, you know, the dog heals and you go the opposite direction. But they were talking about a column, I read that yesterday, so it's really great. But it says it's up to the discretion of the manager if they want to cap that gun in the seniors. And I would just cap it, because they can go on the shot.
What if you cap it and the bird flies 20 yards and the dog goes, runs in, picks that bird up and brings it back?
It's still left on the shot. So
Still left on the
So I'm just
shot.
saying, they get a retrieve
What's
there.
that?
Would you count
that doesn't qualify as a
No,
retrieve.
not in the senior.
Not in the back.
Not in the back course.
Okay.
Retrieve has to be
That's
The
what I'm
bird
asking.
must be
It
shot.
has to be a shot bird.
That's what I'm asking. Well, what if they shoot it in the bird field and miss, and the bird flies and they miss the bird, and he brings you back a live bird? In the bird
It was
field.
shot at.
Okay, that's,
Yeah, that's.
there's a difference. Okay,
There was live fire, so.
all right. that's
Now on
all.
a continuous course, that would work. If it was fired upon by a gunner, it would qualify.
Somebody with a regular shotgun.
Right.
All right,
Okay, that's why I just
It
clarify
gets,
that.
seniors is tough. It's a lot of gray areas, and
What's the time frame on a senior hunt test?
30 minutes.
30 minutes.
Masters,
Same minimum maintenance.
so, all right, and then 6.
You got a question?
Just with the trainability, can you use whistle?
Yep.
So you can 2-2 to quarter or
Yep.
whatever?
Whatever was
And then just for clarification on my end, if dog's on point, locked up, bird does a natural flush, and dog breaks, leash your dog, is it over? Because there was no shot, but he broke?
Right.
You should shoot.
But you should shoot.
If you have a wild
Blank.
flush,
Shoot blank, even if the gunner right there. Got it.
You're only shooting your,
Bird goes up always.
am I only shooting my blank gun when I'm in the backfield?
No.
No.
There's times when you're in the bird field, well, you'll have to blanket. I mean, if they call safety, you still shoot a blank.
Okay.
That way your dog can break.
And when you're at the senior level, your dog holds to the shot, and you're not sure if that bird was shot because you were watching your dog or paying attention to your dog, and you question whether that bird went down, and they say, yeah, you send your dog, that dog's gotta come back with the bird?
If you're at the point where it's not taking off by itself on the shot,
Yeah.
and you commit to sending that dog for retrieve, no matter what line of BS they told you,
Yeah.
you have to bring the bird back.
Can you, if you're not sure if that bird was shot, can you call your dog off and not go on that retrieve?
Yeah, you just let the judges know. that-
Okay.
But don't let it go on a delayed chase.
Okay.
Because, I mean, you get in situations where you have gunners say, oh, that bird's it, that bird's it.
Right.
And then you send the dog for retrieval. He's gone.
Right. I had that situation.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Now,
you're handling your dog.
when you're in junior and even when you do all this training and you think you're ready and you think the dog's ready, there's gonna be stipulations where the other handler was a complete moron that ruined your efforts that ought to train. You know what, just take it on the chin the next day. You're not gonna go 100% usually in senior. And you're definitely, if you do 50% on master, it's agreed. It's agreed.
Sheriff, delayed chase, what's delayed chase?
Delayed chase. So the dog, like, let's say, points the bird and the bird flies off, say they miss it. And you decide you're not gonna send your dog for that bird, right? So you heel the dog off of it, the dog does one of these things. One goes right towards that bird, that's called a delayed chase. Can't do that. That's something you're not.
So another situation, like, you have a safety where the bird goes off and the gunner doesn't have a safe shot, but the bird comes down 50 yards away. Watch your dog, because you fired a blank up or the gunner missed.
Right.
He may go after that bird, so expect that. You know, when you release your dog again, or, you know, just get it out of there, because if it goes back after that bird, it may go and pick it up because it thinks it was shot. So that would be a delayed chase, where the dog is chasing after a bird that is not, I don't want to say not in play, but.
Right, and that would be your trainability.
for.
That'd be under your trainability stuff.
Okay.
Yes.
And the dog may not know whether that bird's shot or not.
Right, that's why you gotta know. You gotta.
I mean, if the dog, the bird comes up, the shot is fired, and you're watching your dog, you shouldn't be watching the bird, you should be watching your dog.
Why should you be watching your dog? If you're hunting, are you watching your dog or are you watching the bird?
Well, I'm shooting, but in this
Right.
case, the gunner shooting.
Well, like in masters, you should be pointing your
The
gun.
master, we're talking seniors now.
Okay.
Right.
So,
So you're saying the dog's broke?
at the shot,
So you're not watching your dog there because he's gone with the shot?
well, if I'm watching them, if the bird comes up, a shot is fired, the dog takes off.
Right.
Whether the bird's hit or not.
You could ask the gunners.
And that's fine, he can go on the shot, you're fine.
Yeah, and
That's fine.
and he might even pick the dog, bird up, bring it back.
Right,
That wouldn't be a delayed chase then.
no.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
No.
Right.
No, see, that's the problem with the seniors, they can go on the shot.
Yeah.
So they're holding, that bird flies off, they shoot, the dog's gone. I mean,
The question was there, the guy dog held, and you sent your dog. Could send your dog, if I read the question right. Then you send your dog on a live bird, that's a delayed chase.
Just think of it this way, no matter if you're using a committed word that you've trained for, bull, fetch, whatever. Once you commit to saying that, you're committed to getting the result.
So if I know the bird's not hit,
But you as a senior hunter, sometimes that doesn't happen. And that there, when it comes down to us, and myself, you're gonna get another chance at another bird. I wanna see the final result. I wanna see this. I mean, when you go hunting, you do miss birds? Yeah. You liar.
usually. Yeah.
If they want to see what you're doing, they'll give you a call back.